What is going on, y'all? Psych Perspectives GeoFox. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the whole situation with, California under Governor Gavin Newsom writing in legislation and okaying for fast food workers in the state of California to be paid a $20 per hour minimum wage. And then also the fight in Atlanta, Georgia for Waffle House employees to be paid $25 an hour. Now, I always see people who complain and they come in with well, those are unskilled jobs and you're not doing anything. Why do you think you should get $20 an hour? Why do you think you should get $25 an hour? I have a degree. I have a certification. I have years of experience. I have a skilled trade. Blah, 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 blah. Here's the thing, right? This is from my humble personal opinion, right? From my viewpoint, from my perspective, okay? Regardless of your education, regardless of your years of experience, regardless if you have a skill or not, if you're working a full-time job, you should be paid a living wage. If you're working a part-time job, you should be paid a living wage. And again, capitalism, capitalists, the CEOs, the rich and wealthy, they do everything in their power to divide and conquer us. They literally have people making pennies on the dollar, living paycheck to paycheck, poor, impoverished, working poor, working class. You're one missed paycheck away from potentially being homeless, okay? And they have us fighting against each other over who can make $25 or not. Meanwhile, they're making $100,000 in a day. A day. Meanwhile, it's going to take me about 2 years and a quarter. 2 and a quarter to make $100,000. And you have people making that in a day, doing less amount of work than you, working less amount of hours than you, with less education, less work experience, less skills than you. But that's okay because they're the wealthy and the rich and the CEOs and, right? It's the hypocrisy. At the end of the day, when you look at how much money Waffle House earns, when you look at how much money a lot of these fast food restaurants like McDonald's, Burger King, Taco Bell, when you look at how much they're making per month, per quarter, per year, it makes absolutely no sense that they're not paying their employees more and better. It makes no sense that they're not able to offer better benefits for their employees. And then with the amount of people that work for them, it makes no sense that they don't have better work-life balances either. People deserve to be paid living wages. They're performing a service. They're giving up time of their life that they're not going to ever be able to get back. On average, I keep saying this in all of my videos. On average, if you're a full-time worker and you're working at least 40 hours per week, that is 160 hours per month that you will never be able to get back. Don't you think after spending 160 hours per month, you should be able to afford to live a decent life? I mean, and even if you're working part-time, that's still 80 hours a month. It's ridiculous that we're expected to bend over backwards, work our, bones into the ground to not be paid anything. Working full-time, getting paid Friday, and by the time Monday comes, you're broke because you paid bills. You're literally broke because you were responsible. We're not making enough money. I'm over here. I went from getting $1,199 to $1,200 every 2 weeks to getting $1,258 every 2 weeks. And it's still a struggle. Because what the hell is a $2,000 raise when the cost of living is sky high? Inflation is still beating everybody upside the head. Price gouging and corporate greed is just that's just the new environment, It's a scam. At the bare minimum, I need to be getting $1,258 per week to actually be able to live a somewhat decent life at this day and age. Okay? Because by the time you pay your car payments, your car insurance, renter's insurance, homeowner's insurance, rent, property taxes, utilities, heating, gas, electric, water bills, you got to have internet, Wi-Fi, you got your cell phone, you got to have food and groceries. By the time you take care of the basics, okay, the basic necessities in many cases, a lot of us are left with $200 to $400, maybe $500 to $600 if we're lucky, for the next 2 weeks. And mind you, you're trying to get out of debt. You're trying to pay off student loans. You're trying to pay off credit card debt. You're trying to pay off medical debt. You're trying to save and invest for the future, for retirement. Things pop up. You're going to need money. And this is what a lot of us are dealing with and going through on a daily basis, because despite us having full-time jobs, despite us having years of experience, despite us having degrees and certifications, none of this matters because our jobs are not paying us enough to live. They're not compensating us enough. I personally support fast food workers making 20 plus an hour. I support the people at Waffle House in Atlanta, the workers at Waffle House in Atlanta fighting for $25 per hour. I support it. At the end of the day, do you know how much it costs to live and work in Atlanta? People are paying $1,500 and up per month to rent an apartment. So they need the $25 an hour in order to live. How is anyone going to live in a lot of these cities and states unless they're making it a substantial amount of money? Here it is. It's October 2nd, 2023, and the federal minimum wage is still $7.25 per hour. It hasn't increased since July of 2009. 14 years ago. 14 years ago, I was starting my senior year in high school. Okay? My first job, I was making $7.40 an hour. So again, 14 years later, we're still talking about the same minimum wage federally? Come on. And I still support the UAW. I support the healthcare workers and the SEIU labor union. I support working people. I support labor unions. I support collective bargaining, living wages, quality benefits, work-life balance, okay? At the end of the day, it's you. It's people such as yourself and others that you know, including myself, that make this world go round. Because if we're not working, then who's making the money? Who's creating the food? Who's providing the services? It's us. And don't you think us should be making decent amount of money for the amount of labor, time, and energy and sacrifice that we're putting in on a consistent basis?